Okay, so good morning, everybody. Again, I kind of mentioned this off camera, but if you have a yoga strap, grab your yoga strap and make it a really nice big loop. And then take the yoga strap around your body so that it's nice and low on your hips, not down under your butt, but on your hips. And then go ahead and lay down and just set the strap aside for now. What you may want to is the tail of the strap, the place where you're going to need to adjust it. I'm going to turn mine around so you can see. Should be in a place where you can get to it pretty easily. Because if it's too tight or not tight enough, you're going to want to be able to grab a hold of that tail on the outside and adjust it. Okay, so then go ahead and lay on your mat. Just set your strap down so that you don't have to worry about it for now. And straighten your legs if that's okay for your body. And just feel that, right? Just feel your body on the floor, your shoulders. Your hands can be anywhere you want them to be for now. Allow your legs to fully relax. So maybe your feet are rolled out to the sides, maybe they're more upright. Just let them relax in whatever position they would normally be. Kind of scoot your hips around so they feel even. Feel the shoulders, the backs of the shoulder blades on the mat. Close your eyes. And just start to tap into your breath. Notice your body. Notice the weight of your body on the mat, where the press points are, maybe the heels, maybe part of the calf muscles, the hips, the shoulders, the back of the head. And also notice what is lifted off the floor. Maybe the backs of the knees, the backs of the ankles. The lower back, there's a soft space behind the lower back, behind the neck. We maybe start to tap into the natural alignment of our spines. Some of us will have more curve in the lower back than others. Some of us will have more curve behind the neck than others, but it should feel effortless to be here. If your chin is really high up toward the ceiling, maybe lengthen through the back of the neck or put a low pillow or a low blanket behind your head so that your spine can get really aligned, really nice. And feel the softness of your belly, the softness of your jaw, right? Tension points in the body, especially when we're feeling stressed or busy or in a hurry, we can tighten our bellies, tighten our jaws. And feel how, as we start to just bring some awareness to the body, maybe things settle down a little bit. Maybe we quit thinking about all the other things going on and we just settle in. We just settle in as if we were in no hurry at all, right? And we're just here to do just this. And as you feel the softness of your body on the mat, just notice I don't know, maybe the lack of tension, that maybe your body yields to the floor a little bit. The floor is hard, there's not much we can do about that, but the body can soften. And then I want you, if your feet are kind of splayed out to the sides, just draw the legs in so that your toes are pointing up. Press into the heels, start to gather all the muscles around the hips and the glutes, and then press the backs of the shoulders. Notice like you can almost lift your whole middle torso off the floor. But I want you to press down with everything you've got. Maybe press those upper arms or the whole hand down to the floor and feel that. Okay, so yes, the muscles are all engaged, and this could be a good just muscle engagement exercise, but also notice how uncomfortable you are. Really firing up everything, right? Hardness with hardness, the hard floor, the hard body, and then just let it soften, let the legs fall out, let the arms, shoulders relax. Find your breath. And then one more time, I want you to engage the legs, watch for any hyperextension behind the knees, push your arms, your hands into the floor, press your shoulders back, fire up the hips, the glutes, push the heels into the floor, gently press the back of the head to the floor, and feel this, right? It just doesn't feel good to me, even. And I like to engage muscles, but then just let it go. Just for a second, go back to that fully released pose, but then come to a middle space. So let the toes point up. Feel the legs and the hips engage, right? Low belly engages, the shoulders press back, the arms are straight. And find this middle space where we're not too hard and we're not too soft. All right, Goldilocks, right? We're just right. We're just feeling this attention in the body without the aggression in the body, without the hardness in the body. There you go. And then release that, bend both knees. Bring your left knee to your chest. Just stretch it in, straighten your right leg along the floor. Take your hands behind your left knee, straighten it up to the ceiling. And then notice again, right? Notice where your particular hamstrings are. If your leg isn't straight up to the ceiling, don't worry about it. Maybe take the leg a little closer toward the floor, but see if you can really straighten your left knee, not hyperextend, but straighten it. And then point and flex your left foot. Easy does it. Point, flex, maybe circle one direction and circle the other. And then point your toes up toward the ceiling. Hold. Flex your foot. Draw those toes toward the knee as much as you can. And then bend your knee. Bring it back to chest. Straighten that leg. Bring your right knee to your chest. Pause right there. Hands are behind your knee. Just stretching a little bit. And when you're ready, take that leg up to the ceiling. See if you can straighten the right knee to your level and then point and flex. And big circle, really big circle with those ankles. So important to keep the flexibility in the feet as much as possible. And turn, circle the other way. And then point your toes as hard or as tall as you can toward the ceiling. And flex the foot as much as you're able. And bend your knee. Bring it to chest, release both legs. Good. Bend both knees. I'm going to take my socks off because socks and a yoga strap are not going to mix. I'm going to take my socks off. All right. So I want you to take your loop and put it around your right foot, right about, kind of where the heel and the arch meet, or somewhere where you can get some good purchase. And then straighten the right leg up toward the ceiling. Have your left leg bent for now, And then maybe adjust the strap so it's sitting right underneath your hips, not too much toward the glutes, not in the lower back, but into the flesh of the hips. And then tighten the strap so that you feel good tension on that strap. I mean, and even if you bend your right knee a little bit and tighten it and then push against the strap. Now, again, your leg might not be straight up and down. It might be a little bit further over. If your hamstrings are super tight, loosen the strap a little bit so that you can get a nice straight right knee and upper body fully relaxed. You don't have to hold, you don't have to pull. Even my more flexible ones, don't grab the strap and pull. What I'm hoping for is this alignment from your ankle to your hip bone. And then only if you want, straighten the left leg. And pause here for a moment. Take a look at your right foot. See if it's straight forward. I have my foot slightly flexed, but my toes aren't pointing one way or the other. I'm not sickling in or sickling out. The foot's pretty straight. And I'm just feeling this alignment of hip to ankle, ankle to hip. Maybe you can tighten a little bit more. And then with that, and if your hamstring's super tight, keep the left leg bent, by the way. And then just move the right leg toward the floor some. And as you do, you should feel this arching of your lower back and the anterior tilt of the pelvis. If your strap wants to slip, you can hold on to it closer to the hip and then just bring the leg back up again. And move the leg away. Feel the anterior tilt of your pelvis. Feel the back move away from the floor and bring it up. Good. One more right here. Just push it away. Just feel that subtle shift, right? As if we were doing pelvic tilts and tucks. And then bring the leg back up. There should at all times be a tiny space behind your lower back. Good. And then slide your left leg in, slide your right leg out. Maybe start with the right foot on the floor. Don't assume that both legs are equally long or equally stretched. You might have switched and noticed that your strap is just way too tight or actually a little loose. So go ahead and adjust that as you need to. Your right leg is either straight or bent, whichever feels best for you. And we're going to pause here and just check this side out. How does that feel as one leg is pressing up toward the ceiling, the other leg either long or foot pressing into the floor? Just notice. Upper body is relaxed, right? Upper body is just hanging out. And then start to move the left leg away from your hip or toward the floor. Feel the arch of the back and the hips and bring it back up. Good. And press it away. And bring it up. Good. One more right here. Press it away and bring it up. And then bend your right, put your right foot back in there, take your left leg back out. Good, and breathe. Now this one might be a little bit tricky. What I'm hoping is that you can get up from here using your right leg as momentum and using your arms. So you're going to press up and lift up. If that's just not going to happen, don't worry about it. Lay on one side and then readjust and put the strap down low. And then, so I've got both legs straight. Have the strap around my right foot, and I'm just seeing again this motion of when I push my right foot forward, I get a little bit of an arch in my lower back. It's coaxing the pelvis forward. Maybe the hands are behind, maybe they're just at the side, and the whole spine, right, starts to lift up from here. And just feel that. Just notice it. Good. And if you can, I want you to lift that leg, hold the strap, come on back down to the floor. Good. And I'm just sliding back down on my mat. Switch legs, bring the left leg in, take the right leg out. Nice strong pressure on your strap. I want you to push that left leg away. Use your arms to come on up. Keep the leg straight. Lift tall. Think Dandasana, right? Think staff pose. And push your left foot into your strap and breathe. Chest is tall. Lift right here through the chest, but tailbone is long. Your spine is nice and lengthened. Think about those natural curves that you had when you were laying down. Good. And then loosen your strap a little bit. You should have that tail pretty close. Put both feet in the strap. Now, my feet crisscross because there's just not room for both feet to be kind of straight and flat. The strap is going to kind of mess that up. Want you to bend your knees, tighten the strap so that it stays in place. It's right around your hips. Bring the legs up if you can. Hands behind, straighten your legs. And I know it's probably hard to tell with this big old sweater, but shoulders are back, legs are straight. We're just trying to check it out. See if we can take one leg out, press through the other leg. I need to be tighter. Lower one leg. There you go. Lower one leg, straighten the other. Breathe. I'm hoping you can see this. Stretch through your hips, stretch through your leg. What happens when you lower the leg to the floor? What happens when you raise it up? One more, lower it to the floor. Can you keep all this anterior tilt, right? Can you keep your spine aligned? We're almost done. Lift one more time. Think boat pose, right? Maybe bend your other leg, maybe straighten your other leg. Whew. Maybe find a little boat. You can bend your knee. You can keep one foot on the floor. Breathe. Push into your strap. Keep your pelvis moving forward and lower and lower. Oh, good. Loosen the strap a little. Switch feet. Take one in, one out. Tighten it up if you need to. Just lift. Find that. Again, how's that feel? Can you picture this line from your outer ankle to your outer hip? Can you breathe? And then lower it down, sit up nice and tall, and lift it up. Just playing here, hang in there with me. Lower it down, keep the shoulders wide, lift up, lift down. Good, one more, lift up and down. And then lift up and hold and see if you can lift, right? Maybe this is your boat pose, one leg grounded, one leg lifted. Maybe you bend your left leg and push the heel into the floor. Maybe you lift both legs, but don't collapse. Right here, keep that chest lifted, push into your strap and lower down. Whew. And then loosen your strap quite a bit. We're almost done with this little play here. Loosen it up a bit so that you still have a tail to grab, but not too tight. And bend both knees. The strap is around both feet. And this time I want you to take that strap all the way up to your shoulder blades, the base of your shoulder blades. And I know it's funky at first, but start to tighten up your strap until you feel really good purchase on the shoulder blades. This, by the way, can be a glorious way to sit, right? Lean back into your strap. Just lean back and feel that. You can take one foot out or keep both feet in if that feels okay on your feet. And then see if you can lift your feet off the floor. Use your hands for balance. And then push your feet into the strap to lift your chest. So we think about boat pose, And we think about the rounding of the upper back where we have so many issues, right? So if I'm pushing into my feet, I'm lifting my chest. I've got my ribs pressing forward. I'm just going to see if I can let go of those hands and lift from from the shoulder blades, from the chest, pushing into the feet, finding this little balance pose. Big deep breath. And hold the strap, bend your knees. And let go, take that strap out. Good job, everybody. I know, great fun stuff, right? Hang in. So then just let go of the strap and sit nice and normal. And feel that in your body. Feel that in your body. Straighten both legs and notice. Now, hands come behind. I want you to press the elbows back, press the shoulders back, lift from the chest, tone the belly, engage your legs. If you can, let go of hands and feel those curves of your spine that we felt when we were laying down, right? So I feel my back body. I feel the curve, soft curve of my low back. The hips are pressing forward. This is not easy. Maybe bend your knees and see if you can draw the hips forward a little bit to stay more anterior. And then take the arms out. And imagine a forward fold, right? Imagine that your feet are on the floor. Imagine your fingertips are on the floor. Imagine your spine is nice and long, right? Nice and aligned. We're not rounding, we're lengthening. So feel that. Now press strongly into the floor. Really press down. The legs are pressing down. Everything is active. The shoulders are broad. I'm still standing on the imaginary floor. The shoulders are moving away from the floor. The belly is toned. The mid back, thank you, Deb. The mid back is pressing toward the ceiling a little bit. So we're not rounding, we're lengthening everything. And let go. And shake it out. Yeah. And then one leg straight. Take the other leg into your sole of your foot to the either inner thigh, the knee, the shin, wherever your hip, knee allow. By the way, you could be sitting up on a blanket or a pillow. So Janusirsasana, right? Move the flesh out from the sit bone. Imagine your outside ankle to your outside hip, nice straight line. And then sit up really tall, take the fingertips behind. Roll the shoulders back and feel your whole torso lengthen up from the floor. Imagine the tailbone drawing down into the floor, right crown of the head going up toward the ceiling. Feel this opening and breathe. Find the curves of your spine if you can. Find the lower back soft curve. It might feel more straight. I'd rather it not be rounded. Like, see if you can not collapse here, but tilt the pelvis forward to hinge from the hip and not from the waist. And breathe. Maybe take the arms up and breathe. Maybe just come slightly forward, like just a little bit. And then draw that straight legs hip back. Draw the femur back into the hip socket. And notice that. Right? So what does it take? What does it take to lengthen through our spines and come out of the habit of allowing this kind of roundy thing, right, to happen in our poses? Release your arms, grab your strap. Take that big loop. If you need to make that loop bigger, make it bigger. Take it around your body. Just have the tail end of it where you can reach it so that you can adjust it. Take the loop around the ball mound of your foot and all the way up to your shoulder blades. And then tighten it so that it won't slip. And then just lean back into the shoulder blades and notice what it does to the ribs, right? It draws those ribs forward. I'm pressing with my foot to keep traction, and I'm pressing so that the back strap is really kind of pressing along the back of my ribs. And it should feel good. Like it's like, right, just in alignment. And imagine you could lean back into it as if you were going to do a back bend, right? Maybe your foot lifts off the floor a little bit and you press back and you lift the arms and you just feel this possibility. Now, lower the foot and imagine coming forward a little bit. Tighten your strap. Lean into or back into the strap as you start to take your torso forward. It's going to give you information. If I start to round, right, that strap's just going to kind of collapse around my armpits. Maybe you tighten a little bit more to come lower, but I want you to constantly come back into your strap. Good. One more here. Maybe you come a little bit further forward, maybe not. But once you're here, push back into your strap and just breathe. And notice like this whole new alignment, this whole new feeling of connecting the upper body, right? As we stretch the hamstring, as we breathe, no rounding. We could keep moving forward with the torso instead of bringing our nose down toward our knee. Good. And then release it. Just either bend the knee or loosen your strap. Straighten that bent knee, shake it out, and switch sides. So bring the strap around your other foot. Take that strap and make sure it's right up at the shoulder blades, right? So if you're not sure, right, we've got these big wings of shoulder blades. Down at the tips the bottom tips of the shoulder blades is where I have it. You can move it up even mid shoulder blade. That's fine. It would be where your strap would go, right? If you were wearing a yoga top or something, move the flesh out from the sit bones. Find some engagement here, pull in, and then just notice. Maybe lean back into that strap. Right. So imagine if we're at our desk or doing other work or seated, and we could just have this almost like a relief, right? A release of the spine as it moves into alignment, as we're not rounding anymore, and just maybe sit like this to watch TV or to it'd be tricky with a computer, but you could, get that sense of where is my body in space. Maybe you lean back a little bit, maybe the leg lifts up a little bit, maybe the hands come up, right? Just trying to check out where are my ribs? What am I doing? What happens if I push my ribs into the strap? I'm kind of collapsing almost like a cow or a cat pose, right? Can I lift not necessarily into cow, but into neutral? Lower that leg. Maybe you start to lean forward a little bit. And as you do, tighten up. But don't let this just round you forward. Once you've tightened a little bit, I want you to push back into the strap and breathe. So we're creating this resistance, right? If you push with the foot one way a little bit and you push back into the strap the other way and feel, oddly enough, right? The hamstrings actually stretching more than if I just rounded forward. And then maybe you go another little bit. Maybe you tighten more because you can go lower, not because I'm saying going lower. But once you're there, once again, shoulders get nice and wide. Yeah, nice, right? Everything is pressing forward. The hamstring is definitely stretching more here than if I were to just round my nose down toward my knee. Big deep breath. And then simply loosen the strap to come back up. And release your strap and set it aside. And then just quickly go back to the first side because now we don't have a strap. And I want you to get that felt sense without that strap. So, what's happening? It's what we always talk about, right? The chest rises, the tailbone lengthens, however far you want to come forward with that leg or with your torso, then widen the shoulders and press back into that imaginary strap. right? What is that doing? It's lengthening the front of the body, right? And then maybe your body allows you to come forward without the rounding part that we so often kind of collapse into. So hopefully that makes sense in your body. And then come on up, switch sides, breathe, open the shoulders, maybe come forward, but then push back into the imaginary strap. Breathe, maybe back, maybe more forward, maybe not, right? At what point do you lose this integrity? Breathe and come on up. And then straighten both legs, Dandasana, hands to your sides. Shoulders are wide, right? The front of that chest is lengthening up. The tailbone is lengthening down. The low ribs are not poking out. We're not back bending, right? They're softening in. Take the hands up optionally. Engage the legs. Press into the legs. Find your breath. Whew. And exhale, let go. Nice, everybody. All right, so let's get a little bit more movement happening. So let's shake all that out. Come onto your hands and your knees. Optionally, you can come to elbows, right? Just make sure you've got good alignment. So if your wrists are chatty today, just come onto your elbows. That's all right. And in this part only, just your pelvis, I want you to curl and tuck, right? Curl and tuck. That probably sounds like the same thing. I want you to tilt the hips forward, right? Which raises your tailbone and arches your low back, and then curl, but try to stay just in the pelvis. Just kind of notice that part of your body. And notice that when you are moving through that space, right, what's happening to the mid back or the ribs, right? Shoulders are pretty stationary. Good. And then find the middle way. So instead of really curling or really tilting, I want you to find the middle space where there is still a curve in your lower back. And then draw your low ribs into the center of your body. Open up the shoulders, lift from the chest, tailbone long, flip your toes under. See if you can take your knees off the floor, but still hold. Breathe. What happened to your pose? Did you start to lose something? Tone the lower belly and bring the low ribs right back up. Bring them up into the middle of your belly. And then press back into downward facing dog. Bend one knee and then the other. Stretch it out. Find your breath. That's it. And then all the way up on tippy toes, stretch out your feet, then press the heels a little bit closer to the floor. Tippy toe it, start to bend your knees, start to hover wrists over shoulders or shoulders over wrists. Start to lower the knees, maybe don't touch yet. And then find the middle space of your pelvis, suck the belly in, bring the ribs back so that the back feels neutral, and then lower your knees to the floor and release. Maybe come off those wrists and shake it out. Good. One more here. So, by the way, if you were on elbows, in fact, we can all try this elbow thing. So, softly interlace your hands. Your elbows or shoulders width apart. Your elbows to your shoulders are lined up. You've got space. So, walk the knees back enough so that your torso has some space. And once again, just see if you can move through the pelvis, right? As your kind of pelvic tilt, pelvic tucks. Notice how the ribs are involved, even though the shoulders aren't moving purposefully. Yep. And then find the middle space. So you're not overly arched, you're not tucked. You're finding a neutral space, and then tone the lower belly, bring the lower ribs in. Flip your toes under, see if you can lift your knees off the floor. So this option, right, is more dolphin-ish than down dog-ish. See if you can keep the low ribs and the belly toned in. Straighten the legs. Maybe you walk the feet in a little bit. Maybe you play with a little early morning dolphin pose. Your head is free, right? Your head's not on the floor. Pressing into the arms if that's too much. Your down dog instead of this. And if you've walked the feet in a little bit, walk them out. Bend your knees, lengthen through your torso, tone your belly, and then let those knees come to the floor and release it. Good. And then maybe just come right up on your knees and circle one arm. Just big circle. Yeah. Stretch out that shoulder and circle the other arm. That's it. Good. And roll both shoulders. And then step your right foot forward. If you need some knee cushion, go ahead and do that right now. In fact, take your hands to the floor, lift your knee and walk the knee back a little bit so you're not on the kneecap, but you're above that kneecap. You're the thigh side of the kneecap. And then take your hands to your knee. Tone your belly, right? Tone it in. So even here, right? You can play with a little back bendy stuff here if you want, but maybe you tone the belly, tone in the ribs. Keep your right hand on your knee, take the left arm up, press into the top of your back foot, squeeze the glute, find the space from your hip to your fingertips. Find your breath. Breathe. Keep bringing the belly ribs in even as you stretch. And notice, right, there's no rounding. Maybe the right arm comes up, belly tones in, ribs tone in, and then allowing that upper back to move into a little bit of a back bend. And then slowly release, lots of control, hands to the floor. Slide your right leg back. Slide your right leg or left leg forward. Lift your knee, walk that kneecap back, and take your hands to your knee. Front knee aligns, right? Front knee, front ankle. Shoulders are back. Keep your left hand on the knee. Reach the right arm up. You know, we realize more and more and more how important it is to keep moving, right? 9.5 hours in the car, psoas is so tight, quads are tight, hamstrings were tight, right? No wonder the shoulders are tight. No wonder the neck is tight. Good. Now, what are we doing, right? We're toning in, and then we're moving through the shoulders, the upper back, maybe the other arm comes up, press through the back foot, find your breath, open up, keep toning in, keep softening the low ribs in toward the center of your body. Big deep breath and exhale. Hands to the floor. Slide your left knee back, plant your hands, downward facing dog. Pedal it out, everybody. Find your breath. And then walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Bend your knees, hands to your knees, and lift up to standing. Good. Grab one of your blocks, take it between your thighs, squeeze that block. You know, it can be up fairly high if that's comfortable. And then find mountain pose. And think about what we did with the strap, right? Around one foot, grounding that foot, lifting from ankle to hip, squeeze the block. I want you to inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to hips, come halfway down. Soften the knees. You should have noticed if you're looking at the screen, my knees just bent a lot. Why is that? If my legs are straight, I'm going to put a lot more effort or work into that back. So take your hands to your thighs, roll your shoulders back. Squeeze your block, but don't collapse your knees. Soften the knees and keep a soft bend in them the whole time. Here we are, pelvic tilt tuck, right? Can you move there? Can you feel that? No strain. And then find the middle space. Tone in the belly, tone in the ribs. Find the halfway mark. Maybe the arms reach back. The shoulders are lifted away from the floor. You're feeling your feet solid on the ground. And then imagine ankle to hip, right? So we're not leaning back, we're not leaning forward, we're centered on the feet. And then exhale all the way down to the floor, optionally. Maybe you take your hands to the fronts of your shins, push the shins back, resist, and lengthen your torso. Maybe you take your hands to your outer shins and push in and out with the hands in the shins and find your breath. Whole time you're squeezing your block. Lengthen your torso so that you are not rounding, and then walk your hands out to down dog. Squeeze your belly, pressing back. Find your breath. You got it. Plank pose. Lower your knees. Tone the belly, tone the ribs. Broaden the shoulders, lift the chest. Right? How do you do it all? Right? Breathe. Maybe you bend the elbows a little. Don't go all the way down, right? Work with strength here. Press the elbows so that they are toward your side body, pressing back, and then drag your body forward as you lower through chaturanga. Breathe. Maybe you got a little back bend there. I know the block will feel funny. Slide your elbows forward and come to Sphinx. And then feel the stretch of your belly. And notice what would happen from Sphinx if you toned your belly, toned in your ribs, started to peel your torso away from the floor, right? Now we're coming into this elbowish plank. Breathe. Maybe we press into one hand, maybe we press into the other hand and find low plank, belly tone. Maybe we lift the knees. Woo, high plank, squeeze, down dog. Walk your hands all the way back. Reverse what we did, bend the knees. Lengthen your torso, draw the belly ribs in. Hands to knees, come halfway up. Reach the arms back. Can you take the rounding out? Breathe. And then all the way up. Good. Roll your shoulders. I hope this is starting to make some sense to you. Good. So still with this block in place, I want you to take the hands behind you, soft interlace. The palms are separated from each other and just press straight down. And notice that when you press down, right, one, that might feel really good. But then what happens to the torso, right? The knees kind of lock out, the hips run forward. So this time I want you to do the opposite. Bend your knees, right? Create a little pelvic tilt with your pelvis. Press the arms back. Pull the belly ribs in a little bit. Find the curves of your spine. From here, release those hands, reach them up. And breathe. What does this sort of look like? Right? A little bit of a weird chair pose. So from here, what happens if I start to bend the knees more? Can I keep the alignment that I've already started? Right? As soon as I go too low and my butt goes poking out and my ribs are doing all kinds of weird things, I want to see if I can lengthen, hold the alignment, tone the belly in, squeeze the block, stand all the way up. Exhale all the way down. Mindful, maybe you take a block and you put your hands on the block and you come up a little bit higher to find that alignment without straining, stressing through the back or through the vertebra, right? Breathe. If your hands are on a block, walk the block way forward. Maybe take it up really high and walk it forward. Press into your feet. Try to find the alignment from your ankles to your hips and stretch out your torso. Check out your feet. Are you leaning toward the outside? Do you need to draw the inner ankles in a little bit? Tone the belly, tone the ribs, lengthen your torso. Yeah, how's that feel to you? And then walk the block back toward your shoulders. Lift up, find neutral, tone the belly. Find that. Soften the knees, squeeze your block, release your hands, lift the chest as if it were sitting on a table. Keep your pelvis long, right? Some of you I know have a lot of mobility in the lower back. So we're just working on strength here. Reach the arms back. Take your fingers to your back muscles, the ones that are on either side of your spine, and then lift up, lift up, lift up. Feel those muscles engage as you come all the way up. Good. And release your blocks. Set both blocks at the front of your mat and shake it out. So this is all coming at you partly from some conversations and partly from one of my students who sent me some poses that in the book were considered variations of it that were considered unsafe. And part of that is this rounding thing, right, that we can do when we're in forward folds. And I'm exaggerating here so that I put so much pressure on the vertebra, the front of them contract, right? And we can create some compression issues or compression fractures if we have osteoporosis. So, what do, right? From this rounded position, we just lengthen. Now, depending on your hamstrings, I want you to come back into a half forward fold. How are your hamstrings? Can the legs be straight and the ankle hip line up? Maybe your hands are too high blocks and breathe. So bend your knees and lengthen your spine. And then tone the belly in, tone the lower ribs in. Your head is neutral. I'm just looking down at the front of my mat. Your hips, your pelvis starts to tilt a little bit. When that pelvis tilts, you should feel the pull on the hamstrings, right? It makes sense because the hamstrings attach to your sit bones. So it makes sense. But the knees are bent and they're soft. And we're finding the weight in the middle of our feet, the ankles to the hips line up. If you can keep that and straighten the legs, go ahead and straighten the legs. But don't lean back. Don't lean forward into the ball mounts. Find the middle of the feet. Find the tone of the belly. Find the ribs drawing in. The spine is neutral. The shoulders are wide. The chest bone lifts, right? As we find that forward fold. And then just bend the elbows. Bend the elbows, bend the elbows. If you start to round, you got to bend the knees. That's all there is to it. Good. Now, everybody bend your knees, set your blocks aside, let your fingers come to the floor. Step back one leg, step back the other leg, find down dog. Same thing, right? There's a lift of the sit bones, a tilt to the pelvis, but then we don't just dive into our low backs. We tone the belly, tone the ribs so that the back is neutral. The legs are fired up. If you can't do that without rounding, you bend the knees, right? Or you widen the legs, which is another sweet way to take that stress off the hamstrings. And then come to plank. Here we are again. Shoulders are wide, belly is toned, legs are active. Bend your knees, take them to the floor. See if you can find a half plank to chaturanga, maybe a low cobra, and then a child's pose. And breathe. And just kind of notice how all of that is feeling in your body. So I love it when students send me questions. I try to answer them to the best of my ability and knowledge. So never be afraid to send me something and go, hey, what about this? What about that? Just breathe. That's it. And then from child's pose, I want you to come back to table. Back to down dog. Walk the hands in a little bit. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. Walk the hands in a little bit or turn forward. And then step one leg out and the other leg out. So you're in a wide leg forward fold, but your hands are forward. They're not underneath your shoulders. And find this. So one, find the fullness of your feet, pinky side to big toe side. Find the line from your outer ankle to your outer hips. What's that mean? You're not heavy in your heels. You're not heavy in your big toe mounds. You're pretty well centered. And then find the pelvic tilt, right? So we're just going to lift those little sit bones a little bit. Give a little tug to the hamstrings. Bend the knees as much as you need to. But then we're going to tone the belly in, tone the lower ribs in. Find your breath, little wardrobes issues here, and breathe. And then bend your knees. Feel free to turn the toes out some if you need to. Take one hand to one knee, the other hand to the other knee. Come part way up. And here we are again. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see if I don't slip on this rug. So what's happening, right? If I just let it kind of go, my hamstrings, my hips are really mobile. So my sit bones lift, I anterior tilt, no problem. But I'm also fairly mobile in the low back. If I don't tone the belly, right, there's where I start to feel it. So tone the belly, turn the ribs. Now I feel like I could lay out on the table, right? And feel really supported here. Fire up the legs, everybody. Begin to straighten the legs if your torso and hamstrings allow. Breathe, stay in the middle of your feet. It's tricky because for some of you, if you stay in the middle, you're going to feel like you're going to tilt. You're going to fall forward, right? Because we're so used to leaning into those heels. And then bend your knees and walk yourself up. And take those feet together and shake it out. Come right up to the front of your mat. Take your blocks to the front of your mat. Maybe take them up nice and high. Go ahead. Inhale, reach up. Exhale down to the blocks. Find the middle space once again, right? So as we're forward folding, if we're not rounding, a forward fold is a beautiful pose. If we're rounding, then we need to take the torso up higher or bend the knees. I think I've beat that one to death, so I think you understand. If your hands are on your blocks and you feel marvelous, right? You can lower the blocks a little bit. But don't lower them all the way. Don't even take your hands all the way to the floor. Just find the length of the sit bones, find the tilt of the pelvis, belly, ribs draw in, and breathe. Good. Bend both knees, step back, right leg. Find your high lunge if you can. If low lunge is better suited for you, lower the knee. Press into the feet, squeeze the belly ribs in, and then take the arms up and breathe. And notice, right? If you feel wobbly, take the legs a little bit wider on your mat, not longer. And then feel this pose. Tone the belly, tone the ribs in. Maybe lengthen and lift the chest to find this beautiful crescent pose. Breathe. Lower your hands to the blocks. Slow, slow, slow. Use your core. Drop the back heel if you can. Maybe shorten the length of your pose a little bit. Roll that left hip back. Tone the belly. Lift up again. Here we are, warrior one. And breathe. And notice the space, right? Right here. Right? How much we arch or draw in. Can we find the middle space here? Can we move the back bend portion of warrior one up here, right? Up into the chest. So feel the belly ribs draw in, but then feel the chest open and breathe. Maybe the arms come up, maybe not. That's it. Unscrunch your front toes. I saw you. Breathe. Exhale, hands come down to your blocks. Carefully switch sides. You're starting with your lunge. Make sure the legs are wide enough. Squeeze into your belly. Press into the floor. Draw the ribs in. Feel that strength. And then lift the torso up and take the arms up. Simple stuff, right? But it comes back into everything else that we do. So here we are in this lovely crescent lunge. We can draw the belly in, draw the ribs down a little bit, lift from our chest, take it nice and high. Optionally, don't drop the head back, and breathe. Slowly, carefully, lower your hands to your blocks. Drop your back foot, shorten your pose slightly, roll your right hip back so that both hip points are heading forward. And then same thing, warrior one. And breathe. Feel the alignment, feel the opening. What you don't want to do is force anything, right? So don't force the back bend. Maybe you're a little bit forward here, right? That's okay. Maybe you're straight up. Maybe you're slightly back bend. How's it feel in your body? And then just release the hands. And if you can, step forward and shake it out. Yeah. Shake, shake, shake. And grab your strap. And grab a sip of water. All right. So make your strap, again, fairly long. Make sure you got a good tail to grab onto. And I want you to step on your strap. Let's do this a little bit different way. Take the strap around your hips. Bend forward. Bend your knees. Step on your strap. Now, some of you might not have a strap long enough that you can, let me turn sideways, that you can both step on your strap. So your strap is around the arches of your feet to your hips. And if that doesn't work, then don't worry about the hips. Just wrap it around your feet and be able to pull up on it, kind of like that. Your knees don't collapse in, keep them separate. And then tighten, bend the knees, tighten your strap. Woo! So you got some seriously good purchase finding hips, or yeah, hips to ankles, ankles to hips. Maybe your hands are on blocks. Maybe your blocks are up really high. I want you to pause here. And then imagine rounding. So I'm going to tuck my pelvis to round a little bit. And then I'm going to tilt the pelvis and create some more space, some more room. Good. Just one more little tuck and little tilt. Bend the knees if you can. Go just a little bit tighter. Walk that strap more toward the heels and straighten the legs again. If you don't need your blocks, you can take fingertips to the floor. Breathe. Just feel that. And then bend your knees. Release the strap from your hips and come up to standing. You still have your strap. Good. I want you to take your loop. And actually, you don't need the loop so much, but it's all right. It's already in a loop, so leave it. So take the loop around your left foot only. And then hold on to it with your right arm. And I want you to feel both legs grounded like mountain pose, right? We're grounded. The backs of the knees are soft, but the legs are straight. Shoulders are back. And then walk your way down your strap. Hold on to that strap with your left hand and start to lift up. And as you lift up, take your left leg with you. Bend the knee. Right. And then slowly bring it back to the floor. Lean forward, belly's toned. Hold your strap. You can let that strap slide, by the way. You don't have to hold it so close. Woo, and lift it up. So one, you're going to stay here. You should feel pretty supported. I've got my leg and my arm working together for support. Take your other arm up. Find your standing leg. Whew, right? Glute engaged, hip engaged, leg straight but not hyperextended. Maybe you take the leg forward and think of Janu Sirsasana, right? Think of that one leg straight. Woo! The other leg would be bent, so ignore that part. But then draw the hip back, almost tilt the hips forward a little bit. Bend the knee as much as you need to. Don't worry about it, right? Big deep breath. And then bend the knee and see if you can set it down. Release your strap and stand tall. Roll your shoulders. Shake out your hips. Let's go to the other side. Wrap it around your right foot. Reach down, watch your backs, right? Good tone through the belly. You're in this mountainish pose, but then you're gonna, I take my left hand to my left knee, and I don't think I said that on the other side, to help me kind of push up and off. My right hand is inside my left leg. I just want to check it out. Engage the glute, engage everything, and then bring it back down. That's actually harder. And down. Last one, you're going to grab the strap. Remember, you can let it slide as long as it needs to. Step up, push into your left leg. Stand nice and tall. Take the other arm up. Fire up your standing leg, standing hip. Tone the belly, reach the ribs in. Maybe extend out. Breathe. And then feel the press of the strap on the foot. And at the same time, that femur bone, that thigh bone, drawing back in to the socket. Maybe a slight tilt of your pelvis. Oh, right? To feel that hamstring really working. Big deep breath. And then bend your knee and slowly step it down. Let go of your strap. Set it aside. Whew. Almost done, everybody. All right. Shift back into the first leg. Bend over. Grab your left hand to your left outer thigh. Peel that foot off and stand. Here we are again, no strap. Right arm goes up. Maybe this is where you stay. 2, just see if the leg will straighten. It might be here and straight, right? It might be lower and straight, and that's okay. Maybe it's level with your hip. Whew, and straight. Maybe one hand stays on that leg for a little bit more support. Fire up the standing leg, everybody. And then bend and sit down. Roll your shoulders. Other side, and then we're done with this. So bend forward. Hold on with your right hand, outer and underneath your right thigh. Go ahead and stand up. Find your still point. Left arm raises. Maybe you stay here. Depending on your hamstrings and your hips, you're going to extend the right leg out. Maybe it's closer to the floor. Maybe you can let go, maybe not. Oh, yeah, big time. And then bend and release it. Good. Shake everything out, everybody. Good job. And we're going to come back to the floor. And I want you to have your strap and a block nearby. So come on down to the floor in your most yogi way. Good. Have your block where you can reach it, your strap where you can reach it. Come on down to the floor. And just pause here for a second. Your feet are on the floor, your shoulders, backs of the shoulder blades are down. Feel your hips, feel your lower back. You might be feeling some sensation back there, but hopefully no pain. Grab your strap, place it around your left foot, take that up to the ceiling. Hold that leg straight up, but then let the shoulder come back down to the floor. Straighten your right leg. So we started here this morning. I just wonder how it feels to you now. How does the back of the leg feel? How does the hip feel, right? How does the lower back feel? Calm everything else down. Calm the belly, calm the ribs, calm the breath. And then slowly let the strap slide through your hands as you lower your left leg all the way to the floor. Create some tension. So leg is straight, but I want you to pull on the strap and just create a little tension. Take your opposite arm overhead, just stretching. And then release that arm, soften the straps with your feet. Take your left leg out, bend your right knee to your chest, and take it up to the ceiling. Once you have it where you want it, soften the shoulder back to the floor. Soften the fingers that are holding the strap so you're not over gripping. Feel the hips pretty even, the belly tone, the ribs are soft to the floor. Tiny space behind your low back. Just breathe. Feel the softness in the body that is not so soft that we would collapse, but not so hard that we feel pain or discomfort. And then let the strap slide through your fingers as you straighten the leg. Keep that strap a little bit taut. Take the opposite hand overhead. Breathe. And release. Bend your knee, just release your strap, set it aside. Grab your block. And for 98% of you out there, I want you to take your block at the lowest level and place it under your sacrum. There is a small group of you, very small, that can go to second level without any discomfort in your back to go into a little bit deeper back bend. Please be mindful here. Don't overdo it. Your head, your neck, your shoulders should feel marvelous, whether you're on second or first level block. This is a restorative, second level is less restorative, first level more restorative for bridge pose. And then just notice what we have been doing most of class. So hamstrings are not so involved here, although if you wanted, you could drag the heels back just gently to engage the hamstrings. But then instead of reaching the ribs out to the ceiling and finding your back bend there, instead the belly tones and the mid belly kind of tones in, and it's the chest that lifts toward the ceiling. The head, neck, our shoulders are comfortable, and we're just finding this lovely little easier back bend / bridge pose. And it's as if someone had a beach ball right between your shoulder blades, a small one. But then every few breaths, they would pump that beach ball up a little bit to lengthen through the chest, to reverse the curve of the upper spine, not really reversing it, but reducing the kyphosis, the upper back rounding that we can get into so easily. So just find that, just breathe. Try to soften and weight the sacrum into the block. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your breath. Notice. Try to soften your jaw. Allow the breath to be full. If you happen to have gone to second level, go ahead and take the block to first level. Everybody else, stay where you are. And then only if you want, bend the knees more, take the feet off the floor, let the legs come up toward the ceiling. Arms are straight down to your sides, palms face up. Find the hover point with the legs so that the legs have no work to do but just to hang there in space. If there is undue pressure on your shoulders or on your head, or if your neck has flattened to the floor, please take the legs down. Deep breath. Bend your right knee to your chest and lower your left leg toward the floor. Watch your low backs here. This is a stretch for the front thighs and the psoas. So it should feel good, and if it doesn't, bend the left knee until it feels okay. Relax the feet, relax the legs, maybe smile. And then slide your left heel in until that knee comes toward chest. Straighten the right leg down to the floor. Relax your feet, relax your legs, relax your whole upper body. And then slide your right knee until that foot is on the floor. Release your left foot to the floor. As you lift your hips, remove the block, but pause for just a second. Give everything a bit of a squeeze, and then lower down to the floor. Shift your hips to the right. Bring your knees to your chest. Let the knees go to the left. Come into a soft twist. Again, soften the belly, soften the jaw, soften the gaze, and soften the thoughts. Good. Release the twist on this side. Take everything back to center and then shift the hips to the left edge of your mat, knees toward chest, and then knees roll to the right. Soften your jaw, soften your belly. And then release that twist. Bring everything back to center and just slowly walk your feet down the mat until the legs are straight. And find Shavasana. If you are chilly or cold or uncomfortable, take the time to fix that, whether it's a sweater or socks or a blanket. And take a moment to feel your body in Shavasana with all of its natural curves. Quietly at attention because you're not asleep, but not so hard that you cannot relax. And realize that as you soften here, we cannot meet hardness with hardness. We have to yield some. We have to find the middle way. Feel your breath soften, your body soften. So please stay in Shavasana for as long as you want. If you are comfy and cozy, maybe you stay for another 5 or 10 minutes and let this whole practice sink in. When and if you're ready, go ahead and wiggle your toes, your fingers. Slowly draw the knees toward your chest. Rolling over to one side. And then pressing all the way back up.